उप मुख्यमंत्री और कभी नीतीश कुमार के सहयोगी रहे सुशील मोदी ने। सुनिए पहले। इस वक्त सीधे आपको लिए चलते हैं राज्यसभा, जहां निर्मला सीतारमण वक्तव्य दे रही हैं, केंद्रीय वित्त मंत्री।
One picture about the macroeconomic situation. The second, despite, quote again, India's forex reserves above US $500 billion are among the largest holdings of international reserves in the world, and together with net forward assets provide adequate buffer against global spillovers. Then it goes to say, India's economy grew faster than most of the major emerging market economies in Q2, that is of financial year 2022-23. It grew, of course, this is an addition I want to draw here, it grew more than Brazil, Mexico, China, South Africa and Thailand. The report also says short-term external debt was 4% of GDP in 21-22, a decline of 1.4 percentage points since 12-13. Since the taper tantrum in 2013, India's forex reserves have almost doubled and provide better coverage of external debt than other emerging market economies. Then it goes to say, India is more resilient relative to the other EMEs, with strong growth, low private sector indebtedness, and high foreign exchange reserves, but with high public debt and a recovering banking sector. The last two quotations from the same report, India's economy is relatively more insulated from global spillovers than other emerging markets. India is less exposed to international trade flows and relies on its large domestic market. India's external position has also improved considerably over the last decade. And the last quote from this World Bank report is, amidst intensifying global headwinds, India is better placed than it has been in the past and compared to its peers to manage external macro financial shocks. So this actually gives a picture of where India is today. And these are after looking into the fundamentals which is prevalent today, and therefore this particular first batch of supplementary demand for grants is coming in this backdrop. It is coming in this backdrop, which is not claimed by me, but it is a picture which the World Bank has given for us. This supplementary demand for grants includes 75 demands, 6 appropriations, and the out of the cash outgo, which is a total of 3,25,756 crore. The total gross additional expenditure is, of course, 4,35,938 crores. The revenue component of the cash outgo is 2,94,703.86 crores, and 31,052 crores is under capital section. Besides this, we are also coming up with the excess demand, excess grant demand, which pertains to the 2019-20 for 3 appropriations which had to happen, and this is completely on the recommendation of the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee, and that totals 32,637 crores. So I know quite a few members have gone into the details of what these supplementary demand have been for. I'll just highlight as to how these are demands which are so critical for us now, and I'm sure I didn't hear anybody objecting to any of these supplementary demands. Just to highlight, the fertilizer subsidy that we are demanding as a supplementary is 1 lakh 9,288.95 crores. And I want to highlight the fact that India, which is largely an importer of fertilizers, will have to now also start working on self-sufficiency as regards fertilizer manufacturing in this country, and a lot of efforts are going on that score. But even with that being so, both the indigenous manufacturers and suppliers of fertilizers, as much as the imported, do get the subsidy. So this 1,09,000 odd crores are going for indigenous as well as for imported subsidy for both the phosphorus and potassium imports which are happening. Also for urea, both for the import and also for domestic manufacturing. So it's not as if everything which is being given as subsidy is only going for imported variety, but it's also both for the domestic. Food and public distribution gets 80,348. This also is going towards the Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, and also for the decentralized procurement of food grains under the NFSA. Rural development, normally and largely, many members spoke about why Manrega gets less, why Manrega shouldn't be given more, why Manrega is not being utilized. I would just want to highlight the fact, sir, that while we'll talk about the Manrega in specific, the Manrega component of the supplementary demand for grants is for 16,400, which is the National Employment Guarantee Fund, and grants for creation of capital assets, which is 16,400 under Mahatma Gandhi. So both the wage component and the material component are being given through this 45,177, which we ask from you. So on the petroleum natural gas component of the supplementary demand, which is 24,943, I will spend a few minutes on that because I want to put forth to many members who have been talking about this as to where this money is actually going. It is certainly going to the oil marketing companies to an extent because domestic LPG operations and also for compensating for several of the losses which the OMCs have made. So this money goes to them. But more importantly, a total of about 8,000 crores from this 24,000, which is in this supplementary demand, actually goes for the Ujjwala component, meaning for the LPG supply which is happening for the poorest of the poor under the Ujjwala scheme. Remember, I said it in the budget that for every cylinder there shall be 200 rupees given for the Ujjwala scheme beneficiaries, because that is the way in which we want to cushion at least somewhat for the price increases. So 8,000 crores, sir, is being given from the BE and from this supplement, total put together 8,000 crore to take care of the gas price increase, which should not hurt the poor. And therefore, for many of the members who raised voice saying, Gharib ke liye Ujjwala cylinder de diya, magar daam badh gaye, from budget till today, that 200 rupees per cylinder to the poor is being given, and the total which is now both BE and here put together. BE, in fact, we had given only about 800 crores. Here, 7,210 crores is being added to it so that the Ujjwala consumers of LPG are given sufficient cushion. So I want that to be taken note of. Railways have been given 12,000 crores. And Railways gets 12,000 because that will meet the capital outlay of railways, and after all that has to be improved because the infrastructure facility for the railways is a very critical thing for the armed janta who move in trains. I am also proposing, which is not a part of this, it might come in the future, but I would like, for the comfort of many of the honorable members who are concerned about railways and work in railways, particularly capital expenditure which is required, this supplementary grant talks for 12,000 crores, but in all probability, what is under consideration is something which I want to put before you, about 10,000 crores. Over and above this 12,000, which is part of this, is also going for railways for their infrastructure capital expenditure, which is under consideration, almost reaching to the logical conclusion. Transfers to J&K, 8,956. I want this to be reiterated. I want to highlight the fact that for meeting revenue and resource gap, an additional expenditure for Jhelum Tavi flood recovery project, both put together, 8,956 is being given to J&K. This is over and above what we had given for J&K during the BE stage, that is the budget stage. Now we are giving further for J&K by transferring 8,956. Again, over and above the budgeted estimate is 1,400 crores, which is being given to Puducherry for providing additional central assistance to meet the revenue and resource gap. So the supplementary demand for grants is coming up with these, and I'm sure not one member of the parliament, I'm very grateful, has spoken saying you shouldn't be doing this. On the contrary, more is being asked, but certainly we have provided for these, which I want to highlight. So now I go to picking up on the topics on which many members have spoken, other than the contents which have been specified in the supplementary demand for grants statement itself. Members have raised a lot of issues on which I go by issues in which several members may have spoken on a particular issue, but I go by issues so that many members' questions can get answered. So the food and fuel and fertilizer subsidy, there were questions asked, and also drawing from that and also drawing from the fact that the amount which is claimed during the supplementary demand for grants, people felt if BE at the time of BE you mentioned something, today you're raising so much more. What is the level of assessment then and what is the level of assessment now? How is it going to touch your fiscal deficit commitments that you've given? I want to highlight the facts, sir, that in 2008-9, global financial crisis, there were 2 supplementary demands. The Constitution allows you to do 2, 3, not beyond 3, of course. And during the global financial crisis, which of course then was big, but now looking back with the benefit of hindsight, we are at a pandemic and post-pandemic war-related economy globally affected. During the 2008-9 global financial crisis, through the 2 supplementary demand for grants, 20% more than what was stated in the budget was brought under the supplementary demand. 20% more. So if we are talking about BE time assessment, your assessment is not good enough, you're not able to get a picture, you should have done a better assessment rather than come with a big amount during supplementary. No, budget makers then now all look at the avenues of revenue and also the ways in which allocations can be made. And as you go through the year, you are in a position to raise more, bring in more demands, and this is absolutely acceptable in the process of budget making. So there's nothing unusual this year that we've come with a huge demand. 20% of what was, of the original budget was brought in even after 2008-9 crisis. Sorry? Extraordinary, sir. I agree, extraordinary. We can always rank which is even better or worse extraordinary, but anyway. So, global financial crisis. You brought up 2 supplementary demands for grants. 20% of what was given in the budget estimates have been brought as extra supplementary demand. 2020-21, immediately post the pandemic, there were again 2 supplementary demand for grants, and in that 19% more than what was originally budgeted for has been brought in. And now with this just 1, and possibly there will be 1 more during the budget time and not beyond that, only 8% of the current budgeted estimate is being brought in here. So I want the members to take cognizance of these facts and so 20% है financial crisis के बाद 20% उनका. So sir, Oh, extraordinary. अभी पैंडेमिक के बाद extraordinary इतना नहीं है. So, sir, revenue position, fiscal room that is available, and also responding to the need are all characters of, or characters which, or features which infuse the confidence with which you come with a supplementary demand. And that is what I am also now hoping, that because of the buoyancy of revenue, the room to operate that I have, and also because I need to respond to situations which are developing in the ground, we are doing this. So I want just this to be kept in mind. So if that is the way it is, the first concern which most members spoke about is about this budgetary problem, coming with a supplementary demand, will you be able to contain fiscal deficit? So that is the first issue, which beyond that, sir, the issues for which there's been a lot of concern are, of course, inflation, talking about rupee depreciation, unemployment, fishermen, coastal communities, and also about fellowships which are not being given to the minority community. Broadly, but I will go by the issues and yes, I'm beginning with it. Sir, in the budget estimate for Manrega, we had given 73,000 crores. Now with the supplementary demand for grants, we are coming up with 16,400 more.
supplementary demand की बात करो.
So 16,400 crores now, sir. Here, there is now very obviously a declining demand for jobs in the rural areas. In the rural areas, the demand for Manrega in the recent past has been coming down. However, 73,000 in the BE and also 16,400 now.
It is not coming down. People are not having the opportunity of doing job. Should not distort.
Manrega is a demand-driven program, sir. Demand-driven. Yeah. And if demand doesn't come, should I read it as it's going up? That's a different issue. I'm answering that also. When demand is demand, I'm talking about demand. When it is not being honored because you have some other issue, I will talk about that as well. But there is a declining trend in the demand-driven. All right. Okay. Sir, I will have to listen to everything that they say, but when I say something, if they have an objection, they can always ask me later. But they can't go on continuously disrupting my answers, sir.
माननीय मंत्री महोदय जब जवाब दे रहे हैं, जब आप बीच में डिस्टरबेंस नहीं करें, आपको पर्याप्त समय पर्याप्त मौका सभी माननीय सदस्य को दिया और माननीय मंत्री महोदय से मेरा आग्रह है, मैंने उनको अलाउ नहीं किया है, आप उनकी बात का जवाब ही नहीं दें, आप तो अपनी बात का जवाब दें, जब मैं कहूं उनको बोलने के जब आप जवाब दें.
Sir, other than the fact that Manrega, we provide this much, we provide that much, concerns have been raised by particularly members coming from West Bengal about how we have not honored their bills. Sir, and Manrega funds to West Bengal has been put on the hold since March 2022 because of complaints which were received from various people. Now, as per the Manrega Act, the central government upon receiving these complaints, shall keep the release of funds on hold till necessary explanation is received from the concerned state. It's a different story, and I'm not relying on that the newspapers are complaining about misuse and so on. I'm not referring to that. But complaints have received, we've sent it to the state government saying, can you please explain it? The amounts I can read by the states, list of states who have to get their Manrega funds.
Sir, all these issues have been discussed.
I'm coming. I was physically present when Mr. Sudipto Bandyopadhyaya spoke. I've heard every bit of what you've said. Let me answer, sir. Like, I go by your guidance that you have not asked him to speak. So as per Manrega Act, the central government, upon receiving complaints, shall hold the funds from getting released.
All issues have been cleared.
I've not even answered, sir.
Have been cleared already. Now money should go back to the state person.
This is what you said, Honorable Member, when you spoke. I heard you also. Please listen to my reply. Kindly please listen to my reply. I've not completed it.
I am a very good listener of the house.
You,
I want to listen to your very.
but you interrupted me already.
No, I am telling you the fact. Minister of the department has given me a separate.
Bengal missing
And you are
Manrega.
telling the other thing. That is
Sir, my replies are normally prepared with the concerned department inputs. So if honorable members would kindly wait till I finish, it'll be okay.
you should not eat it at
Drop of a hat. You get up at the drop of a hat, sir.
in the midst of us. So we are getting tempted to ask.
Anyway, sir, so it is held. No, sir, this is disrespecting, sir, very. In the case of West Bengal, explanation was sought from the government. The explanation is yet to be received. Explanation from West Bengal government is yet to be received, and therefore what has to be held back is being held back. So that's Sir, Manrega, there are other concerns also. Concerns about no, enough is not being done, enough is not being. I just want to give a comparison between the number of man days which have been created between 2006-7 to 13-14 and between 14-15 to today. Man days created in crores then was 1,660. Now for the comparable period, it's 2,341. Funds released, therefore, is 2,13,220 crores then. It's 5,76,303 crores now. For the comparable periods, number of completed works, sir, in lakhs. 153 lakhs was completed then, and a comparable period now, it's 602 lakh of works have been completed. Sir? So that's for the Manrega. The lists of how much is pending due to lack of utilization certificate not coming here, I can always provide for whoever member who wishes to have a copy of it. Sir, I would then go to addressing one small issue. There's not much, but it was more for one particular state, but I will nevertheless say it. It is on the GST compensation cess. Particularly Tamil Nadu raised the issue that 10,000 crores is pending for us. I would like to highlight that the only last week, sir, Tamil Nadu has sent a claim for 4,224 crores, and this is for the year 2020-2021. And that's under examination. The moment that is cleared, the money will be released. It was released only, received only last week. And the AG certified figures for 21-22, which is again the year ended in March 2022, are not yet received from the state. So I do not know where that honorable member from Tamil Nadu had 10,000 crores as claims saying you have not given us. You have given us a claim which is with the AG certificate for the year 2020-2021, which is for 4,224 crore rupees, which was received last week. But no AG certified claim has reached us for the year 21-22, that year ending March 31st, 2022. So 10,000 doesn't even add up. As it is, sir, as it is state-wise, I just would like to highlight compensation cess. For the period of ending June 2022, Tamil Nadu balanced GST compensation, which is yet to be released, which is whether after we receive from them for 2021-22 only, we have not received yet. For 22, in up to June, where every state would have to get their due, for Tamil Nadu, pending is only 1,200.6148 crore rupees. So first we need AG certificate for the year 21-22. AG certificate ke saath 2021 has been received only last week. And for the year, for the month ending June, when the compensation cess comes to an end for all states, Tamil Nadu's due is only 1,200. All put together, it's still not 10,000 crores, sir. I thought I should make that clear. Then there was a lot of concern about fiscal deficit. I'll certainly want to explain that a bit, sir, because that is a very important issue on which members of parliament will have to be informed. Fiscal deficit was estimated to reduce from 6.9% of GDP in the last year's RE to 6.4% of GDP in the current year's BE. This is very much in line with the government's commitment to achieve fiscal consolidation announced in the budget of 21-22. That is to reduce the fiscal deficit to a reasonable level till 25-26.
Madam, combined is 9.9%. Combined.
So on the fiscal deficit, sir, I've given a commitment which was given earlier in the budget, and I repeat that. And the current situation also very clearly gives me that kind of a feeling that we'll be able to comply with what we have said in the budget. Sir, then Minister, quite a few honorable members raised issue about inflation. There are different points which I want to highlight here. We keep a very close watch, and I just want to highlight the fact prices of pulses, edible oils, vegetables are monitored by an informal group of ministers, and we work together. There is an interministerial committee which meets every week on agri commodities, and we closely monitor it. The buffer stock of pulses, I know, I think it was the member of Congress from Punjab who spoke, Amar Singh ji, I think, he spoke about the buffer stock concerns. I just want to say the buffer stock of pulses has been maintained for price stabilization in 2020-21, 21-22, 22-23, and calibrated release of pulses from the buffer stock will moderate the price of pulses in the market. The import duty on masoor was brought down to 0% with effect from 26th July 2021, and that continues. And central government on 1st September 2022 decided to provide 1.5 million tons of chana to states and union territories at a discounted rate for distribution under various welfare schemes. The central government, of course, has central government on May 21st, 2022 cut the excise duty by 8 rupees on petrol and 6 per litre on diesel by cutting down the road and infrastructure cess. And due to all these policies, sir, and the steps taken, I'm glad to say we've just not been talking, we are acting. The latest data on CPI proves it. Inflation has come and it is now come down, and it is now in the tolerable band of the RBI. Inflation has been declining since April 2022, and it is declining further. CPI for November 2022 came down to 5.88% year on year, down from 6.77 in October. So I want that taken cognizance of. It's a bit difficult when parties raise question on inflation who saw double-digit inflation during the period. And that's not something which I'm imagining, sir. I'd just like to say the inflation data in November of 2013 was at 19.93%. And the earlier month in October, it was 18.19%. And when record was like this, to ask us who have worked to bring the inflation down from 6.77 in October to 5.88 in November, here the same time, 19.93 in November, October 18.19 in 2013. Now if they are asking us to bring it down further, we'll bring it down further for common people's sake. But can they ask us? 18 and 19% inflation?
डबल डिजिट रहा आपका
Don't go for peak and it is selective.
अरे 2-3 साल तक रहा डबल डिजिट
8.94
सर, आज दोपहर 12 बजे के करीब WPI नंबर्स आया है, वो भी देखने लायक है सर. WPI इन्फ्लेशन कम्स टू 21 मंथ्स में सबसे लोएस्ट में आया है. 5.85% year on year, November 22. WPI inflation was 8.39% in October, whereas in November it's 5.85%. Food inflation, sir. Food inflation is at 2.17% versus 6.48 month on month. So, inflation management or inflation control, Prime Minister Modi and his group of ministers and officers are constantly watching and taking periodic intervention measures. As a result, you find the results coming here.
आप जा रहे हो क्या?
Sir, the other main issue on which many members spoke was about the depreciation of the Indian rupee. Depreciation of Indian rupee, and they kept mocking at me saying, oh no, you don't understand, rupee is not weakening. It is a matter of fact. Every report has told you that Indian rupee against every other currency has only strengthened. And against the dollar, we have performed much better than many other emerging market economies. I will detail out the information. So, if you have patience, sir, kindly, I seek your indulgence so that I can read the numbers out for members to benefit from. It is not off the cuff that I keep saying things. It is a truth about the Indian rupee, and that has to be appreciated rather than, oh no, no, Indian rupee is this, oh no, no, Indian rupee is that. Sir, Indian rupee, movement of all currencies of various emerging markets against the US dollar. Sir, movement of currencies of various emerging market, and I'll read India also, emerging market economies against the US dollar. And this is over a period April 1st to 30th November 2022, this year, this financial year. Sir, Turkey.
तो ये आप सुन रहे थे लोकसभा से सीधा प्रसारण, जहां वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमन अनुपूरक मांगों पे जो चर्चा चल रही थी, अनुदानों पे जो चर्चा चल रही थी, उसका जवाब दे रही थी। उन्होंने तमाम पक्षों